So by your bar already being set low,
he could do anything to impress me.
Thank you. Anything he said would impress you. Like when I was just listening to you
that
talk,
makes sense.
I'm sitting here telling Lan, you worried about someone asking you about an HIV thing?
Yeah, at that age,
and you impressed by that shit?
Yeah.
Like
but you have to count everybody else I ran into that didn't even go near the conversation. This is the first person.
But you know why?
Let me finish.
When your bar is low,
I wouldn't actually, I'm agreeing with you, but this is the reason why I'm combating you on it. I don't even feel like I feel like, yes, my bar was low, but I don't feel like he was anywhere near that bar. Even though he was a bad guy, I don't feel like he was anywhere near the pits that I was in before him.
Gotcha.
And the reason why it was because he showed me men could be better. Not all men are sagging their pants. Not all men are corner boys. Not all men have bad credit. Not all men need to borrow your car. He was my first boyfriend. He bought me. I had 2 cars out of that relationship. I didn't buy either one. You know what I'm saying? My first big chain, my first bling, he didn't want to date nobody with bad credit. I didn't even know that was a prerequisite for having a relationship. Who gives a fuck about credit? I got my pussy get wet. I know how to cook waffles, bacon. What's up? At that age, it wasn't about my credit. He was the first guy that made me say, well, damn, what is my future going to look like? What should my credit score be? Let me go get tested for HIV. Let me get my ducks in a row. I was very young. And so those things weren't important.
That's right. No, it had nothing to do with your age. You were not cultured and not educated. You had ignorance is bliss. Having ignorance.
Damn, how stupid.
Having ignorance, no. Ignorance and stupid is 2 different things. You know what I'm saying? When you don't know no better, you can't do better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was, and the reason I'm gonna show you the scenario that you're talking about, because that scenario, that's what I'm saying. Like, just because he asked you about AIDS test and what your
and
credit,
that he didn't fuck me right away. He was willing to wait. He did all the right things to make me feel like the bar was high.
Gotcha. See that scenario? This is why we're talking about this, because you're steady trying to defend. You're steady trying to defend some shit I'm telling you ain't right, and I'm finna tell you why it ain't right.
Okay.
I watched. Just like most people that watched Paid in Full. On there, Ace goes in there, he runs into it, which is about to be his supplier, which is a drug dealer. And he said to him, you're not a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. The guy looked at him and said, why am I not a drug dealer? Mm-hmm. He said, because you're not flashy. You don't have a car. You don't. He was like, how does that not make me, just because I don't have those things? But his mentality about drug dealers is they're on the corner, because based upon just what he saw. Just because you don't see something don't mean that ain't what it is. Mm-hmm. So bring it full circle is that did not make him a drug dealer just because he wasn't flashy, just because he didn't have a fucking car. A drug dealer is a drug dealer no matter what.
With a Benz or without one.
Yeah, if he went to court, the judge is not gonna say, well, you really just don't look like a drug dealer. So just because he didn't look like a narcissist to you, don't fucking mean he ain't one. He was just smarter than the rest of the motherfuckers you dealt with. And you had suck on your head, and narcissists recognize that immediately.
Yeah.
They can pinpoint on what you are and what you can do for them, mm-hmm. and make you feel worthless for not doing those type of things. That's why you in there getting a jar and shit for someone who make more money than you. Mm-hmm. He preyed on you. This is a dog-eat-dog world. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And that scenario,
and I'm not taking away from that. I'm just kind of, I don't want to say I was defending him. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to defend myself from saying, I didn't willingly or knowingly choose
ignorance is bliss.
A bad person. It's not like his first day with me he choked me. You know what I'm saying? I was months into the relationship when I got choked. I was months in the relationship when I got slapped. He did everything right in the beginning to make me feel like I chose a better person, and I was really scared of losing that and then going back to what I had previously, which was a corner boy. I'm like, I finally don't have. And the funny thing is, the story that he just told, saying just because he doesn't have a car doesn't mean he's not a dope dealer. This guy turned out to be a very big drug dealer.
Yeah,
he did his thing. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that because that's not what he sold. He sold intelligence. He sold good credit. He sold good health. And there was nothing about him that said, you know, that he sells drugs. That wasn't even on my mind.
Yeah, but being educated has nothing to do with where someone is on drug level status. Like that has nothing to do with it. Like, none whatsoever. An educated person is just educated. Like, they paint the scenario just in media that, hey, a dope boy looks like this, is on the corner, this and that. But those are not real dope dealers, because the dope dealers that they're really after
are the ones you don't see.
Thank you. Are so far up, and they don't live, be around, or even do so. That's why I'm trying to tell you, like, your ignorance of what he sold you on, he already had pinpointed what you were weak at, and on top of that, you were young. So also, by you being young, you know that's saying that a lot of that men go through, young and dumb. That's what you were. You was young and dumb, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you recognize some of those things, that's when you were supposed to pull away from that scenario. And to paint a different scenario of what you were just saying, like, you was like, well, he didn't choke me like immediately. I had one of my homegirls tell me she met this dude, and he had money, wined and dined her, was took out for like 3 months. She never paid for anything, had a nice house, the whole nine. I was like, oh, okay, listening to her. And she was like, only thing that has not happened, she was like, sex hadn't happened. She couldn't get this, and the minute she said it, I got it immediately. And it was amazing to me that she couldn't get it. And I was like, well, he strung you along for that long is because that's the one thing about women. Women, when they put time into some shit, that fear of, well, I just can't walk away from this shit, is y'all down.
Because our time clock is
every time.
Every day.
Yeah. And then in the 2 months passed by, and she finally had sex with him. So this is 6 months that she landed in. And she was like, sex, he has the smallest dick that I've ever seen in my life. You see what I'm saying? So the flags and shit that she was missing was, he knew that already.
And that's why
thank you. This is why he was whining and dining you. This is why he was taking you out. This is why he wouldn't let you pay. He wanted
to show you all his pros.
Thank you.
So he hit you with that one con, you ain't going nowhere.
Thank you. Because if he had that big dick energy, he would have been trying to fuck on the first night.
Yeah.
And she was trying to convince me, but no, he's such a gentleman. The narratives that women tell themselves that is not true is what we're here to talk about. Like, you know what I'm saying? And disappointed in 6 months because he got a little wee-wee.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He got big money, so which one you want? He can't have everything.
You can't.